Hi, Lena Rodriguez here, Doctor of Sociology, Honorary Nerd Avenger. How much do I love that title? I think I love it more than my doctorate. But I've got two words for you, intrepid viewers. Alvin Bragg. How much do we love this man? This much. He is the one doing what so many before him failed to do, which is stand up and not just take it on the chin, punch back at the lunacy. So we'll be looking at that with Jim Jordan. And in other news, the victory of the two Justins, just superb, absolutely superb. And when I was looking at them, I was thinking, I'm looking at leadership here. It is so inspiring to see the next gen coming through. Wow. And the redneck governor of, where are they? Tennessee, on Tuesday actually signed some sort of thing about stricter regulations on background checks or something, some little thing, but it wouldn't have happened before. So we're finally, after what seems like, decades of horror, we're finally seeing pushback and we're finally seeing a reaction. It's bliss. Love it. Go the Justins, They've secured their place in history. They're up there with Tommy Smith and John Carlos. Oh, just beautiful. Now, it's a gigantic week of news and we're only Wednesday. Oh, so what are we doing first? Oh, before I leave the two Justins, have you caught up with the San Antonio Spurs coach talking about the school shooting? So he's being interviewed, how do you think the quarterback went, or whatever coaches are asked about. And he takes it upon himself to challenge the GOP lawmakers in Tennessee by name, starting with Marsha Blackburn. And she apparently said to the grieving parents and traumatized community, "We're here to assist." And he said, "Assist? These children are dead. How are you going to assist? Do you mean you're going to help washing the blood off the floor? Assist." He goes for it. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's just awesome. Now, New York, New York. So Bragg is suing the Uber jock, Jim Jordan. But Jordan, here's the thing. I'm loving the way because this case is being held in New York, Marjorie Taylor Greene got spat out in 5 minutes. He's going to go in a couple of days' time to have some stupid sort of hearings, as he describes it, on crime in New York. None of his business. But again, Bragg pushed back. Under the 12 months he's been in, Bragg, overall crime has gone down, A. B, New York had a third of the shootings of Ohio. So eat my shorts, you'd have to say. And wait till he gets to New York. I can't wait to see the footage. Look, there'll probably be a few New Yorkers who'll, come to the party and complain about crime. But I bet there's more protesters. Love it. Love it. Now, let's have a look. Bragg is suing Jordan. How's that case going to go? Let's have a look. Look, happy face, happy face. Just a different happy face. Alvin Bragg versus Jim Jordan. Because all Bragg's doing, of course, is stating the legal obvious. That's the whole thing about a federated society, states' rights that are normally such a nightmare. You can't do this, pet, but let's see how the case is going to go. Huh. That's quirky. Oh, look. Funny business. Now, it starts off with this Three of Pentacles, which is about working together, but it's also the card of dark money. Now, I've got Pentacles and another big Pentacles card here. I think this is Jim Jordan planning how he's going to do this, or equally it could be Bragg planning how he's going to handle Jordan. But in any event, they're no doubt both doing that thing. And somehow money's going to turn up in this in some way, weirdly not. But also just remember, those who are learning tarot, Pentacles are also about our values. You remember values, right? Okay. Now, the sun is shining. Love that. So Bragg has this momentum now. This is the thing, that he's flipped the script. Instead of the GOP attacking and the Dems going, well, we should just be polite and not speak, he's got the sun shining and he's going for it, and he's on a galloping horse. I love it. Queen of Cups, which is a bit curious here. Just got it when I touched the card. Letitia James. Now, I wouldn't normally describe her as a Queen of Cups because cups are emotional and artistic and all those lovely things. But she's watching this very closely for obvious reasons. Right. And I think she's talking with Bragg a lot. Now, the Page of Pentacles. This, I think, is the message. Again, I'm looking at the Pentacles as our values. This Bragg is fighting for basic values, but he's bringing a message. And as we know, fear is contagious, but also optimism is contagious. And also the will to stand up and fight is contagious. And that's why all these things close together, the Justins in Tennessee, Alvin Bragg, it's starting to form this momentum and light for people to hang on to. But this is the message that is getting through to those who are watching this case. How's it going to end for Jim Jordan? Glad you asked. He's going to, I don't think I'd use the word humiliated exactly, because he's a bit like Trump. He's so egotistical. He's so testosterone driven. Wouldn't be humiliated, but on some level, he's going to be publicly shamed. Love it. New Yorkers will spit out the bones. Oh, bliss. Okay, now, just a bit of other news I'm not going to read on. I have to comment on Dianne Feinstein. She's been in hospital for quite some time, and I'm sorry to hear that, Dianne, but, she has missed 58 votes, which has slowed down Biden's ability to appoint judges. We're not just talking Supreme Court here or anything, but judges at all sorts of district and other levels. At this point, why won't the woman resign? I'm sorry, it tips over from serving your country into being selfish. I'm sorry. And I can say that because I'm an old person. Okay. Now, in other developments, US intelligence leaks all over the world. This has caused a major drama, a global drama because of these intelligence leaks. They're the biggest leaks since WikiLeaks, right? It's a really, really big deal. How did they get the information? Right. So Australia is part of what's called the Five Eyes of intelligence, and that's the US, Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand. And let me tell you, those countries are mega upset. But what this has meant is, I just saw on my morning news feed, excuse me, Jack Smith, as if he's not busy enough, now, according to legal pundits, has enough evidence to charge the Yeti with espionage, because we know, he'd have people over to Mar-a-Lago. Have a look at this from Kim Jong-un. Have a look at this from my friend Vladimir. Have a look at this. We know he did that. Okay. Yeah. But let's see whether he'll go down that route or he's got enough to be going on with. Let's have a look. Jack Smith's cases and the Yeti. Let's just have a general look and see what turns up with these cases. Oh, I'm intrigued. Oh, the Yeti's in trouble. I know we've been saying this for 5 years, but there's a certain ring to it now. I'm not getting anything here. I'm not getting the spy in the camp. Okay, I don't think he's going to go down that route. But it doesn't matter. Because with this Five of Pentacles, he's already got enough on the Yeti. And what's happening to the Yeti, as we see on a daily basis? Oh, did you see his numbers? His numbers have fallen through the floor. He's on an outsider's sort of number. He's on 20-something%. Now, we know polls aren't reliable and blah, 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 but I think that's probably pretty much where it's going to sit. There's probably 25% of the nation who are deluded enough to think he has something to offer, but not more. So because he's so stressed out and strung out, the Yeti this is, he is just ploughing through the snow now, as an image. He's just ploughing one foot in front of the other. He can't see anything. And even though he keeps turning up at UFC fights and getting filmed going golfing and all of that, sure, that's a distraction, but this is how he's feeling. This is how he's feeling. He's on crutches symbolically. Okay? Now, Jack Smith himself, Queen of Swords. We shouldn't get confused with gender with the court cards. Kings and queens, to a certain extent, are interchangeable. This could be him, or I'm sure he has teams, plural, of prosecutors, but it could be a woman leading one of the more juicy, dramatic aspects of his work. So either way, this is the judiciary heading for a victory, working together. See, they're working together as opposed to the Yeti, who's isolated. And then the final Page of Wands, again, like that other page, pages are messages, right? And messengers. So this is another big message out there for the others who are coming behind. You might seem to get away with it, but in the end, you won't. Now, for the empty greens and the Boberts and stuff, who's about to become a grandmother at 36. Let's not go there. Apart from the Marsha Blackburns, there's nothing worse than a right-wing woman. Yeah. Anyway, they're not going to hear the message. They are just going to keep fighting in their own echo chamber. They've done wrong by the Yeti. But more and more people are going to realise this message, okay, which is microphone from the balcony, as this case unfolds. Now, speaking of all this, just a moment. Oh, a lot of you have asked, would I read on Clarence Thomas? I'm not going to here. Hogarth, Lady G, and I read on Clarence Thomas. And my feel is, no, he's not going to be legally pulled up. Can't have too many good things in a week. But he's hemmed in a corner. The other justices are furious, really furious with him, and so forth. But it seems he's contravened disclosure laws and blah, blah, blah. It's hopefully enough that it'll push him into a corner where you might find a health crisis coming on or family commitments. I don't think they've got any kids, have they? Does anyone know? There might be a retirement in the wings, but I don't think he's going to be hauled over the coals legally. But, oh, God, I'd love to be wrong about that, but I don't think so. Okay. So, the GOP foreign policy. Let's bomb Mexico to stop the fentanyl trade. They're good, aren't they? Delicate diplomatic marvel. But this shows how far down the tubes they are. This would have caused an international incident, 6 or 7 years ago, something. I don't think the Mexican government even is bothered by it. This is what happens when the boy cries wolf, right? They've been so appalling for so long. No one takes any notice of anything that falls out of their diseased lips. So we have that. Okay, other general news. The E.J. Carroll case is coming up very soon. But for some reason, again, according to the legal pundits, they have to say, each party, whether they'll actually appear. E.J. Carroll will, of course, in her own trial. If the Yeti has an option, which he does, I don't think he's even going to turn up. Okay, so that's what I think on that. Oh, yeah. Missouri has defunded public libraries. This is a problem, apart from the obvious and apart from the symbolism, where a lot of poor people, that's the only place they have access to the internet. So they're doing everything they can to stop people educating themselves in any way, because a dumb population is an easier population to control, particularly if you're a fascist, because you can just point to these different other groups and go, they're shafting you. It's not me. Look over there, But now I'm going to read on the RNC convention, which is in Nashville. Tennessee is on the map at the moment, is it not? There's an NRA meeting followed by the RNC convention in Nashville. And you'd have to think the timing is a little awkward. This is interesting because they're going to have to G each other up, like, guns are good, guns are good, guns are freedom. What phallic replacements are driving these people? Anyway, let's have a look at the RNC convention in Nashville. On the back of the well. Yes, there's going to be a lot of circus behaviour. Oh, God, this is I think this is probably quite an accurate reading here. Right. Look at the connection. King of Pentacles, who is the greedy king driven by money. This is the show they're going to put on. We're so happy you wouldn't believe it, despite the shootings, despite the Justins. Everything's fine. Happy days. Okay. We get the false knight. You get, let's make some new repressive laws. We're really good at that. Don't forget, all the cards can have positive and negative. So before it was possibly Letitia James or whatever. Now it's these dreadful laws. The Queen of Cups, they're just driven by emotion. They're driven by money and emotion. Never an attractive combination. So they've got a foot in both worlds, but that's their shtick. You appeal to people's, I call it a primitive sort of nationalism. You're American, so it must be great. Even though more people are dying of chronic diseases and preventable illnesses because they're Americans, if they were Canadians or Australians, they might survive. No, that's because of that health. But they play that emotional card really well. They have played it forever and people buy it. So let's not underestimate it. However, outcome, because of this, because of all that I've just described, I don't know that the public is going to be that impressed. Here we have the death card. Now, trampling the Yeti, we did make this figure a little bit orange deliberately to symbolize this period of history with the Yeti. So it's like they're digging their own grave with this stuff. By pretending nothing's wrong, they're digging their own grave with parents. Because, as many people have pointed out, when these school shootings happen, it's not just that school and that community. There's these ripples that go through families all over the nation. What if our kids' school's next? And that's a valid question. This is not going to go well in the end. Oh, you can feel it, can't you? It's just... Now, before we leave Tennessee, and I've got one more question coming up here. Before we leave, there's a town or a city called Franklin, Tennessee. I've never heard of it. The local gay and trans community bravely have put in for a permit for their Pride March. Now, we couldn't make this up. One GOP woman, again, it's the worst of the worst. The women are the worst of the worst, right? She brought in an image depicting a drag queen eating a beating heart, eating a live heart. These people are sick. They shouldn't be allowed out of their own homes, let alone into public office. Sick. But despite that, somewhat miraculously, the permit has been granted 5-4. So the agreement is keep the parade family friendly. And I think that's really important in itself. The vote even in itself is important. Now, my next question is on Fanny Willis, right? Because, well, so many reasons, so little time. Just to remind us all, because there's so many cases, her witnesses included Brad Raffensperger, who got the famous phone call, obviously, Lindsay Graham, who we hope could stop weeping long enough to give some sort of testimony. I think Lindsay Graham and Giuliani should both enter AA. Wouldn't that be good? Michael Flynn, I'd forgotten he was in this. Armed Services, Pentagon, whoever is responsible for recalling treacherous ex-generals, please step forward. Michael Flynn, Mark Meadows, and Cassidy Hutchinson. I'd forgotten the fine print, of who she'd done. So let's see how Fanny's going. While I'm shuffling, Biden is currently in the old country. He's in Ireland. I hope he's got his drinking pants on. He's gone to Belfast, so I sure hope he goes to Dublin as well, or I won't be happy. So he's gone to Ireland. Good on him. Now, Fanny Willis. See, I was talking about contagion. You never know. Maybe because Bragg stood up, Jack Smith is in the wings. Now we're seeing this momentum. Maybe the armed services will act. Okay. Barney, what's happening with that case? What can we expect? Yeah. Oh, there she is. Boy. 3 queens. The name Fanny Willis produces 3 queens out of 5 cards. I'm loving that. She is playing her cards close to her chest, for sure. And she should, professionally. No. I digress. There's a link, if I remember, I'll put it up, of some legal person describing why this case is taking this extra time and will probably not come on board till May. But we're halfway through April, so that's not a complete disaster. But it's quite interesting, the legal stuff she is navigating and negotiating. But she's keeping it close to her chest. There's no leaks from Fanny Willis's office, Okay. She has the temperament for this job, keeping things calm and balanced. Here come her queens. Here she is as the judicial queen. Here she is as the Queen of Pentacles. And this seems to be the day of Pentacles being values, upholding the values. And Queen of Wands, action. She is going forward. These are powerhouse cards. So I think I'll end on that optimistic note. So I take off in 6 days. I'll be doing another video before then, and you will be getting videos for the whole time I'm away. So, mwah. See ya. That's if I can find the off button. Still here. Bye.